Heterodox Israelism. 2 things to know. I would like to know 2 things. You can keep the rest. Why is the world broken and what can we do to fix it? In other words, why is it broken and why can't we fix it? If I were asked, I would respond. First, watch my videos, study them, and then we'll talk. But if pressed, I would respond while holding my breath. The one Torah teaching is Moses' cue of Genesis 1:1a/Alef. The problem is that what has been going on for the past 3 millennia has been missing the forest on account of the trees. It's been spending 99% of the time scrutinizing details and solely 1% on questioning the principle. The fact of the matter is that knowing the history is no guarantee that you can predict the future. First, you would have to know how to decipher the data. If in the past all efforts were erroneous, then you cannot extract from it what's right. Heterodox Israelism. I inquire, are you interested in having a trailblazing conversation? I'll follow the Jewish tradition of not leaving stone unturned in keeping the Torah vibrant and close to heart, head, and hands. From the history books, Spinoza is the father of secular Judaism, while Luther is the father of Protestantism. By the way, Spinoza got expelled for less than what we're claiming here. That should serve as a spoiler. Heterodoxy and Orthodoxy. Herein, we're using Orthodoxy to represent mainstream Judaism as endorsing the Oral Torah and its corollary, Messianism, and not so much the usual denominations of Reform, Conservative, and Orthodox, and the outer limits as well. Thus, our thesis is that heterodoxy is simply found in Moses' cue of Genesis 1:1a/Alef as the universal principle of knowledge from whence all principles derive. The literal definition of Israel is one who struggles with the power of powers and with men and prevails. But what about the role of Israel in the world? This refers to verse Exodus 19:6. Firstly, will be quoted the usual translation followed by our take. E 19:6. Quote, "You shall be to me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. These are the words that you shall speak to the children of Israel." Quote, "You shall be to me a kingdom of servers and a nation of leads. These are the words that you shall speak to the children of Israel." Comment. The traditional interpretation has Israel as religion. The second interpretation has Israel as cosmovision. This we take more in the sense of autonomous persons as servers and leads, more so than as priests and devout religious followers. This, like all the rest, will take us back to reboot the narrative from the point origin of things of paradise, the holy. Herein we'll delve with a distinction between the forward or backward slash and the hyphen. This is substantiated in Leviticus 19:2 by way of holy meaning keeping separate. El 19:2. "Speak to the whole community of the children of Israel and say to them, quote, you shall be holy, for I, your power of powers, Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh, am holy." Comment. Holy means the sacred is set apart from the profane. Sacred is holy, capital holy, slash holy, lowercase, profane, DRP. In our cue, it means keeping creation separate from the Creator. But how or by whom? This is where we, as creative creatures, come into play. This is expressed by filling in both sides of the slash sign in para-di/se, which separates the Creator from creation, as in Creator is, creative/creature, creation DRP. From this, we express our theses as uni-s/triadism DRP, or unitriadism in shorthand. On the other hand, with monism and dualism is not the case. The distinction is, on the one hand, between holism, also called uniism, and monism, and on the other hand, between triadism and dualism. This we express as uni/triadism as distinct from mono/dualism and not as mono/dualism. Okay, This we express as uni/triadism as distinct from mono hyphen dualism and not as mono/dualism. Slash and hyphen. Paradise and paradise/se are the same thing, just easier to write. The same goes for uni-triadism and uni/triadism, but not so fast because there is more than meets the eye. But what about mono-dualism and mono/dualism? Is there a difference? Yes, there most certainly is. The convention is as follows. The slash is like the rim of the coin, both joining and separating the face and tails of the coin, thus uni/triadism. The hyphen, on the other hand, is like a rimless coin, thus mono-dualism. This would then mean S-D, R, P, and not S/D, R, P, nor S-DRP, much less S/DRP. Trinitism. If we take the trouble of doing the math, we get 1, 2, 3 of mono-dualism equals Trinitism. That is, the ordinals first plus second give the third. Basically, mono-dualism lacks all the elements of paradise, namely the uni, the slash, and the triad altogether as uni/triadism. Forward or backward slash. Still pending is the question of which slash to use, the forward or the backward slash. Namely, should we write paradise with an implicit slash in long form as paradise /se or paradise /se? At this point, it doesn't make a difference, but later on it may. When we get there, we'll address it again. Mule and Grove. The mule comes to represent dumb stubbornness, all the while the grove brings to mind the garden. To that effect, let's go to Numbers 15, 40, 41 for orientation. In 1540. Thus you shall be reminded to observe all my commandments and to be holy to your Elohim. Comment. But we already saw that all the commandments are derived from one teaching, besides that holy means to set apart. In 1541. I am Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh, your Elohim, who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your Elohim. I am Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh, your Elohim. Comment. What does Egypt represent? Egypt represents the negation of keeping the Creator separate from creation in paradise/se, uni/triadism, as monodualism of peret, P-E-R-et, triunism. Note the absence of secret thought S. By the way, depending on the vowels used, but the acronym PERED stands for mule, while paradise stands for grove. Let's inspect this mule more closely. In Spanish, si digo que la burra es parda, es porque tengo los pelos en la mano. What's missing is the separator slash, and more importantly, the secret thought S. My estimate is that in the absence of secret thought S, there is no need for the slash, because ultimately it serves to express the Creator separate from creation, as in Creator S slash creation DRP. As for representing the mule, we would have peret as stubborn neck P, senseless language R, dumb thought D. Seek peace and wholeness. In this globalized world, almost all of us come from other parts to settle in another country. Where should our allegiance lie? The generic answer is that we're citizens of the world, but that's not what is at issue in the factual world, while it may be in an ideal world. In the real world, the issue is regarding mass migrations and colonization. I couldn't find anything affine in the Torah, so let's go to the prophets instead. Jeremiah 29:7. And seek the peace of the city to which I have exiled you, and pray to Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh in its behalf, for in its prosperity you shall prosper. Comment. Seek peace and wholeness to the nation wherever you happen to live in the diaspora. But is that all there is to it? What about the relationship between the colonizers, settlers, and the native people? This is left as an open question to be addressed elsewhere. Veracity and reality. How can you tell truth from fiction? Is truth of reality dependent on whom you ask? The Tower of Babel cure. What does the curse of the Tower of Babel refer to? Is it about the existence of multiple languages which none other than native speakers understand amongst themselves? Or is it about not understanding between interlocutors, irrespective of the language just spoken between them? Let's go to the prophets for tips. Zephaniah 3:9. For then I will make the peoples pure of speech, so that they all invoke Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh by name, and render service with one accord. Comment. This seems to be revoking the curse of the Tower of Babel. This addresses the cure to the Tower of Babel syndrome of not only not understanding different languages, but of not understanding at all in any one language. To put it bluntly, Paradise Kabbalogy is not panacea. It only cures stupidity. Unicity of humanity. What does unicity of humanity mean? How does it relate to the unicity of the Creator? Let's recur to the prophets for elucidation again. Zechariah 14:9. And Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh shall be sovereign over all the world, and that day there shall be one Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh with one name. Comment. This is talking about the unicity of Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh as one name. But what could it be if not Paradise Kabbalogy? Identity principle. Israel doesn't know what it is if it doesn't have a constitution which defines and gives it its identity. Israel cannot be at peace with itself unless and until it knows whom it is. Israel is at war with the world because it's at war with itself, not knowing whom it is. The starting point is always the identity, namely, the unicity of the same self and not the duality of the self and other. You cannot be both equal and unequal to yourself, as claims dualism. You can only avoid the issue for so long. Eventually, destiny will catch up with you. Israel cannot run or hide any more than could Jonah. This matter is addressed elsewhere under the heading of Zion and Sinai. Church-state separation. Religion has gone from being good to being a bad thing. Church-state separation enforces this conviction. The case in point is Israel's Zionist claim that it's a Jewish democracy. Our claim is that it can't be a democracy if it's Jewish. By the way, it's a duocracy, not democracy. In any case, it should be Israelist democracy. The consequences of such misorientation is its trump card of right to self-defense to justify everything goes. In all fairness, moving forward, but next to every Holocaust museum, there should be one from the burning bush to the state of Israel. All things considered, but of late, Israel has become the negation of the Torah, of what Israel stood or stands for in the eyes of the world. But how can one come to terms with beliefs, values, and interests? Well, precisely as such. That is, the whole being is / becomes Persian DRP of beliefs D, values are, interests P. In other words, Exodus is, there is / never was, Exodus DRP, which is the same as saying that the holistic is, but it never was unless it's understood triadically. 53I Triad State Constitution for Israel. Moses' paradise cue for politics and philosophy unfolds as the Model C of creation S / creativity DRP with civilization S, constitution R, culture P. The suggestion is to parachute down midway at constitution R for practical concerns and then at will navigate headwaters to baby bank civilization D or else downstream to education culture P. The classical triune state of enlightenment consists of first power legislative, second power executive, and third power judicial. The proposed triad state, which includes the ages of information and knowledge, consists of the fourth power media and the fifth power university respectively. That is, the fourth power media and fifth power university would designate the third power judicial. Also, the individual S / person DRP consists of beliefs D, values R, interests P. This means 3 votes per person for democracy instead of one vote per person under duocracy. Lastly, humans have all rights from birth, including infant suffrage, under parental tutelage, of course, plus much more. Internet info and paradise knowledge. What saves civilization? Free access to information. Although it is a necessary condition, it is not sufficient. The sufficient reason would be knowledge of paradise Kabbalogy, but this is in theory. Next would be to transcribe it into practice. The possible candidates to implement these changes are Israel and Mexico. Don't take sides. Taking sides is endorsing duality. Strive for unicity of peace and don't give in to duality of conflict. The cue to Torah teaching is paradise Kabbalogy. Chazak, Chazak, ve'yit na ve'nit Chazak. The following is recited at the end of each book of the Chumash Pentateuch of Moses. Chazak, Chazak, ve'nit Chazak. Be strong, and may we be strengthened. Doing the gemathria, Chazak, Het 8, Zayin 7, Kuf 100, adding them up gives 115. Moshe and Moses, Mem 40, Shin 300, He 5, adding them up gives 345. Moses is 3 times Chazak, 3 times 115 gives 345. That is, Moses whole 345 is / Triad Chazak 3 times 115 DRP. 100% equals 1% Q plus 99% rest. Spend at least 1% on questioning the Q of the teaching and the remaining 99% scrutinizing the teachings to make 100%. If the teaching is close to your mouth and heart and easy to recall, then it couldn't be the 613 precepts of the sages, not even the 10 sayings of Moses. To be easy to recall, it must be solely one teaching, cue in language and in thought, namely, thought is easy / remember language DRP with subject D, verb R, object adjective P. Don't let the trees get in the way of viewing the forest. The 1% is the principle and the remaining 99% are illustrative examples and commentaries. The previous is substantiated in the following Deuteronomy 30:14. D 30:14. For the thing is very close to you in your mouth and in your heart. To do it. Comment. In code, heart, thought is divine / close, language mouth DRP, subject D, verb R, object adjective P. Note that the Elecha to you likewise signifies godlike, meaning that we're made in image and likeness to the Creator, our power of powers. Unicity of the Torah. Respect the unicity of the Torah and reject the duality of the Oral Torah and written Torah. The Q spells out as Creator is creative / creature creation DRP with spiritual D, mental R, physical P. Applying it further down the line would give us revelation Torah is / humanism DRP, inspiration prophets D, enlightenment writings R, erudition Talmud P. Unicity of the Torah is but a reflection of the unicity of the Creator Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh. Quite the contrary is the misguided initiative of the sages, turned sageists, of duality of the Torah into written Torah and oral Torah. You want to know why it's an abomination? As if dualism of the Torah wasn't enough, it additionally entails unwanted consequences of the triunity of the Creator in Messianism. Bible study censorship. I stopped going in person to the Limud Torah Bible study sessions on Shabbats and opted instead for following online. I would make my usual comments and things moved as if I hadn't spoken at all. At least online, I wouldn't take it personally and would comment on the chat. There is an invisible red line not to be crossed of questioning the validity of the Oral Torah and written Torah with corollary Messianism. Nowhere in the Torah is mention of dual Torahs, much less of any coming of a grand Messiah. It goes against the very grain of revealing us a teaching and challenging us to be ordinary Messiahs, each and every one of us. This impish notion of delegating what makes us human is so outlandish that it makes real the absurd. If we break it, we fix it. and not if we break it then we call out and wait for someone else to come fix it. Limud Torah. This is Limud Torah. The starting point should be the study of the Torah, Bible. Like in the real world, the Supreme Court is there to keep the Torah by dismissing any secondary writings which go against it, like a power of judicial review. But what happens when there's a judicial coup d'etat? The case of the gatekeepers turning against the Torah itself. This is what happened with dualism of judicial review by Rabbinism, ended breaking the unicity of the Torah into oral and written Torahs of dualism. Messianism follows by added measure. Not content with the above, it then proceeded head-on with a blind heart to overturn unicity of the Creator into monism of God and consequent triunism or Trinitism or Triadism. Look no further for the origin of the woes of humanity. It's all in our misunderstanding. Trailhead. The firmament is where heaven and earth touch. In Q terms, what does the slash in S/DRP stand for? It plays the part of the separator as in the case of the coin, the rim. Deuteronomy 29:18. D 29:18. Concealed acts concern for Yod Heh Eloheinu, but with revealed acts it is for us and our children ever to apply all the provisions of this teaching. It is dotted, it is for us and our children. Comment. As creative/creatures, we are the slash between the creator S and creation DRP. We have a uni/triad, not a mono/dual or triune nature. The slash is ever iterative and only makes sense as both joining and separating the imaginary and real size as hypotenuse of the Pythagorean right triangle. J'ism and Xism. The error of missing the point origin of J'ism ends converging in spite of the dualism of the oral and written Torahs and Messianism. On the other hand, the error of Xism doesn't converge due to deifying Messianism, never mind the dualism of the Torahs. The point origin. Things revolve around a point. Around what point do things revolve in the universe? Is there such a point in humanity? Where is this point? Where is this origin? The point origin of the universe and of humanity is none other than Moses' Q of Genesis 1:1a Alef. Deep darkness. Genesis 1:1a/Alef sets the stage. Then follows Genesis 1:2 with state of the earth, the space, and of time. This culminates in Genesis 1:3 with the emergence of light. Genesis 1:2-3, G1:2. And the earth P was unformed R and void D, with darkness / darkness over the face of the deep / and a wind D from power to power sweeping R over the waters P. Comment. This repeated reflection seems to be saying that PRD is the same as DRP, separated by deep / darkness. G1:3. And Elohim said, "Let there be light," and there was light. Comment. Here light is introduced. By default, this would seem to correspond to light S/light DRP with dark D, phase R, deep P. Kabbalah would somehow be Kabbosophy / Kabbalogy of philosophy / science. Dark and light. It seems to be the case that darkness has a separate existence from light, not just as we might be prone to believe as absence of light. This is manifest in Genesis 1:4-5. G1:4. God saw that the light was good and separated Elohim between the light and between the darkness. Comment. That this is the case is affirmed since the same care is given to both by using between and not by just subsuming one under the other by a single use of it. Furthermore, all we can say about darkness based on the goodness of light is that consequent badness has an equal separate existence. G1:5. Elohim called the light day and called the darkness night, and there was evening and there was morning, a one day. Comment. In closing, to dispel all doubts, it names it in order to give darkness proper existence. Fingerprints. At the Peshat plain P level, blasting the shofar just means calling the tribes to formation, but at deeper remez remit level, it would refresh our memory of the fingerprints left all over the Torah of the baby bang of creation. This would be commanding us to apply paradise Kabbalogy to the resolution of our challenges on a daily basis, more to the point and personalizing it. It is saying to be ordinary messiahs at the derive discover D level. Deuteronomy 6:6-8. D 6:8. Take to heart these instructions with which I charge you this day. Comment. These things is the secret S, since the heart D is the center of imputation of the person. We'll skip Deuteronomy 6:7, which deals with another subject. D 6:8. Bind them from a sign on your hand and let them serve as drippings between your eyes. Comment. The sign is binding from / on your hand, dripping DRP is the third or inner eye of revelation. Based on the above, the question now is how the Triad unfolds. Which part comes from us, which from the Creator Elohim, and which from the environment? Heart is, mind R, context P. 4 is one whole and triad parts. 4 as one and triad parts. That is, the zeroth is unknown. The first is Torah and not written in Oral Torahs. The second is Moses' Q of Genesis 1:1a Alef. And thirdly, applying this will help transform us into pedestrian messiahs. No need for the coming of the lofty Messiah to fix things anymore. Paradise Kabbalogy. Let's clarify the terms employed to avoid possibility of misunderstanding. Kabbalah, reception, is the contribution of our thought which comes from the Torah of Israel, all the while logos, reason, is that coming from Greece. The most extensive version unfolds as Model C, namely Creator S, creative/creature, creation DRP, with civilization D, constitution R, culture P. Of course, this is just an application of paradise Kabbalogy as the classical sought secret S/derive discover D, remez remit R, Peshat plain P. Etymology Kabbalah plus. I'm torn between, on the one hand, Kabbalah plus philosophy as Kabbosophy, and on the other hand, Kabbalah plus logos of science as Kabbalogy. Kabbalah comes from Israel, whereas science, logos, and philosophy comes from Greece. The source is the Torah. Kabbalah is the reception of the tradition of Moses. Let's do the math. Math neither lies nor takes sides. Without the 1% of the 1Q, the remaining 99% is just 100% without the one in front, mumbo jumbo. That 99 without the one is just highway traffic background, HTB noise. This can be phrased as whole 1% is/99% DRP, triad of subtriads. Teaching or teachings. How many teachings are there? The sages are right in saying that there are 613 precepts, though Moses explicitly mentions the 10 commandments. All the while, our claim is that there's only one teaching. Could all be right in some comprehensive yet compromising far-reaching manner? Yes, of course. Paradise Kabbalogy paves the way quite nicely, namely 0S/1D 10R 613P. That is, doing the math of a gemathria, we have 613 unfolds as 6 plus 1 plus 3 gives 10, which further unfolds as 1 plus 0 gives 1. Please note that in this nomenclature, the 0 is secret S, with solely the 1 revealed to us as DRP, as above mentioned of 0S/1 DRP. What happens if missed? Now that we know the above, that there is a 0 secret teaching and 1 revealed teaching, the next question is what happens if the revealed 1 is missed? Recall that missing the Q is not the same thing as the Q is missing. That said, what happens if we count all the trees but miss the forest? The world of our own doing, that's what happens. One principle and many principles. Our claim is that there is one universal principle from whence derive all the particular principles. If not, then there wouldn't be unity in creation. Just as the Creator gives unity in heaven, so paradise gives unity on earth. The universal principle of knowledge, UPK, is just this correspondent on earth, Nothing more, but nothing less either. Proof of creation. The proof of creation by the Creator are its fingerprints left on all over the Torah. This leftover residue takes the form of the paradise formula in all creation. About the author. Ricardo Turullols-Bonilla studied physics at UT Austin, mathematical physics at Imperial College London, graduate philosophy at UNAM Mexico City, MBA at Iberoamericana Mexico City, and studied Kabbalah on his own in Austin. This last one proved that there is no need for tutelage to the Torah, which is always open to the heart. His books are found at Amazon and his videos at YouTube, plus podcasts elsewhere. Amazon, YouTube, and podcasts. Title: Friends of Dialogue. Subtitle: The Quest of Keeping the Heart, a Philosophy of Practice, 2005. Title: Dialogue of Friends. Subtitle: Making Sense of the Human Spirit, a Practice of Philosophy, 2005. Title: Triads. Subtitle: The Pre-Socratic Origins of Dialogical Science, 2012. Title: Part des Ism. Subtitle: Human Science 101, 2016. Title: The Principle of World Caring. Subtitle: Peace by Wholeness, 2019. Title: Saving Creation. Subtitle: The Baby Bang of Paradise Civilization, 2022. Title: The Sweet Spot. On the Obvious. Subtitle: On the Obvious, All Revealing Yet Hiding in Plain View, 2023. Videos at the handle on YouTube. Books at the handle at Amazon. Yours truly, Ricardo, and GD Bless.